Hi, I'm Prospector's wife, Tara. Here's a little taste of my world. It's time for Prospector's Picky Pet Peeves on Rock 107.
All right, let's start it. I heard a meteorologist on TV say it was going to be -0 degrees. Really? How did you pass 6th grade math, much less get a degree in meteorology? 0 is neither a negative or a positive. In fact, negative and positive numbers are defined in terms of 0. Negative numbers are numbers that are smaller than 0, and positive numbers are numbers that are bigger or larger than 0. Since 0 isn't bigger or smaller than itself, just like you're not older than yourself or taller than yourself, 0 is neither positive or negative. Simple enough for you?
All right.
I keep hearing this in commercials. You can pocket up to tens of thousands of dollars or more. Look, when you use the phrase up to, you're setting a limit. So you should use a specific number. For example, you could save up to 25%. See how it's done? Also, if you're setting a limit, don't add the words or more. Because you know what? You're now larger than the limit you set with up to. All right? If you mean more, say a bigger number. Or don't set the limit in the first place, yam bags.
Nobody cared. You think that was bad? Try living with him. Love you, honey. Mean it.
You solve the puzzle as fast as you can to beat the contestants on wheel. And if you're like me, you feel really good when you can run a category on Jeopardy. Well, the double Jeopardy round last night, had a category that left me feeling pretty smart. A category that was right in my wheelhouse. A category that was practically built for Rock 107 listeners.
And finally, you got to admit, the 70s totally rocked.
Oh, yeah, I heard that and like, woo, I'm in, I'm playing. I was hoping and praying somebody would pick that category and maybe even just do it all in a row. In fact, that's exactly what happened. They went right down the board, most expensive to least expensive, hardest to easiest. So what were the questions? How did I do? I'll play along.
I want you to want me to say Cheap Trick's 1978 live album at this arena in Japan is a hard rock masterpiece.
Budokan. And it is. And yeah, I got it right, and I'm guessing you did too.
The 70s totally rocked long hair, as seen on this rock and roll band from Massachusetts, whose 1976 debut album included Rock and Roll Band.
Boston. What is Boston? See, I didn't do that with Budokan either. What is Boston? Sure, the picture would help here. I mean, it's hard to miss Tom Schultz in it, and one of the guys looks like he could be Steve Perry, so that might throw you. But the point is, you see that picture, you know who it is, and when the clue gives you that Rock and Roll Band on their debut album, you were right there with me. The clues are getting easier, and on we go.
Fire in the Sky. After Montreux Casino burned during a Zappa gig, Deep Purple wrote this top 5 hit with a killer lick.
You know it, right? What is Smoke on the Water? I mean, come on. It's the holy trinity of rock in those guitar chords, for crying out loud. And the questions, as I mentioned, they went hardest to most difficult, and really none of them have been that hard so far. I'm feeling like a genius. I don't know about you. Let's see.
This quartet gave us a tour of Kashmir in 1975 and enjoyed some custard pie.
Come on, that's so easy. What is Led Zeppelin? Physical Graffiti double album. Come on, man. I'm all about it. And of course, we're on to the $400 clue, which is going to be the easiest. And yeah, it was.
Only months after releasing 1979's Highway to Hell, this group lost lead singer Bon Scott to acute alcohol poisoning.
Oh my gosh, what is AC/DC? Come on. All right, look, for you and me, probably too easy. And yeah, it was just the 40th anniversary, the 44th rather, anniversary of the Bon Scott passing last week. But that was a $400 clue. So how'd you do? Don't you feel amazingly smart?
Breaking the news that's already broken. It's time for Prospector's Briefs on Rock 107.
A Maryland couple set a world record by attending 135 concerts in 1 year. Asked how they'll celebrate, the couple said, "What? I can't hear ya." A fire broke out at a chimney manufacturing plant in Pennsylvania. The damage was through the roof. Walmart is offering mammograms at select locations. However, women should be careful to look for the official signs inside instead of falling for the guy in the parking lot wearing the homemade Federal Booby Inspector t-shirt.
It's 60 Minutes meets Gone in 60 Seconds. Tune in tomorrow for Prospector's Briefs on Rock 107.
You can be kind of a jerk.
Today, he asked the question, am I a jerk? On Rock 107.
All right, you tell me if I'm a jerk here. I'm renting a car, picking it up, and the guy at the counter checking me out, a little pushy when it came to the add-ons. And I get it. Look, I know, I'm sure there's pressure from above to get some of those tack-ons onto every rental, but we get into the part about their supplemental insurance, and I felt like he didn't want to take no for an answer. He explained it once and said he recommends it. And I said, I'm good. And he said, okay, I really do recommend it, but if you decline, you'll not be covered by us in the case of blah, blah, blah. I said, no. Again, my car insurance will pay for that. He started on a third time about recommending it. And that's when I said, are you paying for it? And he said, no. And I said, then I don't give a beep what you recommend. And at that point, my wife is like, oh, you can't say that to him. So I did apologize for my language when I calmed down about 2 minutes later or so, but I still have to ask, does this make me a jerk? What do you think? On to the Rock Lines, Jim from Vanling. Am I a jerk here?
Yeah, Prospector. Definitely you got to be a jerk on this one.
Gotta be a jerk on this one. Now, look, didn't do it the first time, didn't do it the second time. I did it the third time. That doesn't help my cause. You still say I'm a jerk, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Amanda from Waverly checking in on Rock 107's toll-free Rock Lines. What do you think? Am I a jerk?
I'm going to go 50-50 because I did telemarketing in my younger days, and you have to get 3 no's before you can stop trying to upsell. So, yes, because of language, but no, because it is annoying.
All right. Now, it is annoying, and I get that, and I get what you're saying, but I'm not going to let you go 50-50. You got to pick one or the other. I don't care which one it is. Am I a jerk or not? Decide.
Yes, because of the language.
Yeah. Okay, so because of the language, Amanda thinks I'm a jerk. Jim thinks I'm a jerk, too. But Tara on Facebook.com/Angry Prospector, and not my wife, Tara, another Tara, says, no, that happened to my mom. She said no 3 times, and the jerk went ahead and put it on her rental agreement anyway. Steve said, yeah, he was pushy, and I'm sure they get pressure to get those sales, but you went too far with your rude language, so yeah, you're a jerk. Got one from Open Mic on the Rock 107 app. Me saying I don't give a beep what you recommend. Does that make me a jerk, Rock 107?
Of course not. You were just being assertive, which is totally okay. I'm sure all the Prospector fans out there can relate.
Checking in on the Rock Lines, Fred from Troop. What do you think, dude? Am I a jerk, Rock 107?
You know what, Prospector, I'm starting to go along with you on this one. I've had that happen to me before. You don't need that insurance.
Right.
You know what, Prospector? You're a jerk anyway. What's wrong with you? The guy's trying to hustle for, maybe he's got a wife and kids. He's got a mortgage to get a bonus on that.
All right, I thought I had Fred there for a minute, but he turned on me, man. Peggy says you're not a jerk. I wouldn't have let him get to the 3rd time. And Leonard says, yeah, losing control and resorting to profanity makes you a jerk. On to the Rock Lines. Am I a jerk? What do you think, Rock 107?
Hey, Prospector, it's Killer from Shavertown.
What's up, buddy?
Hey, you're absolutely not a jerk.
So you would have handled it like that, buddy?
I was in this same situation, and I just told the guy, I said, you realize if I take the insurance, I'm going to have to total this vehicle before I bring it back.
And how did he react at that point, Killer?
He laughed like you did, and then my mother-in-law paid for the insurance, and she made my wife drive, and they took the car back because they knew I was going to total it.
He was going to total it no matter what at that point. Jack says absolutely not a jerk, and I wouldn't have apologized for the descriptive adjective. In the question today of am I a jerk, for after the 3rd time being asked about the insurance on the rental car, I said, are you paying for it? And he said no, and then I said, I don't give a beep what you recommend. According to you, Northeast PA, by about a 65% margin, I am not a jerk.
Life's pretty tough right now. There's plenty of bad news, but it's not all bad. It's time for the brighter side of Prospector on Rock 107.
A 93-year-old former professor just donated $1 billion to Albert Einstein College of Medicine in New York. Her late husband worked with Warren Buffett and was an early investor in Berkshire Hathaway. All the funds will go to cover tuition, which is usually $59,000 a year, but all students who get in will get to go for free now. That includes current students. They're even refunding any tuition paid for the current semester.
Thanks. We needed that. The brighter side of Prospector on Rock 107.
lunch is about to get a whole lot more expensive. Good morning, I'm Rock 107's Prospector. Fast food serves a purpose. You know, there's consistency. You know what it's going to taste like. You know how long it'll take approximately. And you know what it'll cost. But now, Wendy's is throwing a wrench into that. The CEO of Wendy's says they're planning to boost profits by introducing digital menu boards that will have the capacity to display dynamic pricing that fluctuates throughout the day. Think about that. You know how frustrating it is when you're trying to get a ride somewhere and all of a sudden it's way more expensive because it's busy? Imagine what that means when you're trying to grab dinner on the way home from work or lunch. I mean, it means a Baconator is going to cost more during busy times. You know, typical meal times, lunch, dinner time, and less, say, at 2 p.m. The worst part is you wouldn't know what the price is till you pull up. Yeah, that's annoying. Even if the price changes aren't that drastic, just a couple of pennies here and there can make a big difference, right? They say they're also planning to implement AI-enabled suggestive selling, which is probably some kind of upselling like, hey, would you like to add a Frosty to that or something like that? Now, the changes, they're not happening tomorrow. They're not happening right away. In fact, Wendy's is hoping to get the menu boards out early next year, and that's what they're going to start experimenting with the whole dynamic pricing. And maybe some of you are going, hey, you know what? Dynamic pricing is not that big of a deal. Prices already vary a bit by location. And hey, look, they could cut prices just like they could hike them. That's fair. Sure. But has any company ever done surge pricing and it's been a good thing for a customer? Yeah, didn't think so. Of the day, as decided by you at rock107.com.
We uncover the most baffling, ridiculous, pathetic, cockeyed, laughable, preposterous blunders in the world of misdeeds. Nominee number 1.
If you deal with chronic, debilitating pain, there are some things you just can't do, like throw a Christmas tree. A 36-year-old woman in Ireland was in a car accident 7 years ago. Her vehicle was rear-ended, and she filed a personal injury lawsuit for $825,000, claiming she was left with a disabling condition. She claimed she has constant back and neck pain that prevented her from working for more than 5 years. She also couldn't play with her children or carry out basic chores. She couldn't even take out the trash. The case has been tied up for a while, but recently the court was shown a newspaper photo from 2018, less than a year after the crash, showing the woman participating in a Christmas tree throwing contest. She's actually heaving a large spruce in the photo. The woman said even though she may have looked happy, she was in excruciating pain at the time. The judge didn't buy it and threw out her case.
Nominee number 2.
There are lots of good cops and a few bad ones. Here's one of the bad ones. A 33-year-old police officer in Columbus, Mississippi just lost her job after she was caught shoplifting while on duty. Her name is Robin Counter, and she was working and in uniform last Wednesday when she allegedly walked out of a Dick's Sporting Goods with a $140 pair of shoes. An employee saw it happen and called 911. Robin was still in uniform when fellow officers got her into custody, and this part's gotta sting. They took her into jail in her own police car. The city council held a special meeting the next day and unanimously voted to have her fired. The chief of police called the incident embarrassing for the entire department. Robin is now out of a job and facing charges for misdemeanor shoplifting.
And the winner is
the shoplifting cop who was taken to jail in her own police car. You're the Yam Bag of the Day, and we'll move on to Friday's Yam Bag of the Week competition. Keep it here for all the nominees for Prospector's Yam Bag of the Day, weekday mornings on Rock 107. Thanks for listening to Prospector's Prime Cuts podcast. Be sure to catch us live weekdays from 5:30 to 10 a.m. on Rock 107 or online at rock107.com or the Rock 107 app. A free download for your Android or iPhone. Subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, or wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss Prospector's Prime Cuts.